Deep within the asteroid belt of the Ta-Ceti system, humanity's greatest secret took shape in the darkness. The massive orbital shipyards of Project Umbra stretched for kilometers, their existence hidden by an elaborate network of gravitational distortion fields and quantum camouflage arrays. Here, the U.S. Nightweaver grew from dream to reality, a testament to human determination and ingenuity. Director Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck, her dark eyes fixed on the sleek hull of the Supercarrier as construction drones swarmed around it like fireflies in the void. 20 years of her life had led to this moment. 20 years of secret development, breakthrough innovations, and carefully orchestrated deception to keep the Meridian Collective ignorant of humanity's true technological capabilities. Final systems check is complete, Director, announced Dr. Marcus Rivera, his holographic presence materializing beside her. The quantum core is stable, and the dark matter drive is performing beyond expectations. Sarah nodded, her reflection in the reinforced transparent steel window betraying no emotion. And the neural interface. Captain Drake has achieved 98% synchronization. The Nightweaver responds to his commands as if it were an extension of his own body. The mention of Drake brought a slight smile to Sarah's face. Captain James Drake had been her most controversial choice, a brilliant tactical officer with a reputation for unorthodox thinking and a barely concealed disdain for the Meridian Collective's protection of Earth and its colonies. Many on the Project Umbra committee had opposed his selection, preferring a more traditional commander. But Sarah had seen something in him that others missed, a perfect blend of controlled fury and tactical genius that the Nightweaver would need in the battles to come. In the docking bay, 17 levels below, Drake himself stood before the Nightweaver's main entrance, his hand resting on the cold metal of her hull. The ship's quantum consciousness brushed against his mind through the neural link, a vast and powerful presence that had taken months to adjust to. Unlike the crude AI systems the Collective permitted humanity to use, the Nightweaver's consciousness was a true synthesis of human and machine intelligence, capable of processing combat situations and responding to threats faster than any conventional system. "She's ready," Drake whispered, both to himself and to the watching technicians. "She's ready, and they'll never see us coming." The Meridian Collective had ruled the known galaxy for over 3 centuries, presenting themselves as benevolent guardians while systematically suppressing technological advancement among their protectorate species. Earth had joined the Collective 200 years ago, seemingly accepting their role as a junior partner in galactic civilization. But beneath this facade of compliance, humanity had never stopped pushing boundaries, never stopped innovating. The Nightweaver represented the culmination of dozens of breakthrough technologies, each developed in absolute secrecy. Its quantum-entangled stealth system made it virtually undetectable. Its dark matter drive could propel it faster than any known ship in the galaxy. Its adaptive armor could absorb and redirect energy weapons, while its own weapon systems employed principles of physics that the Collective scientists had deemed impossible. But perhaps most significantly, the ship incorporated technology reverse-engineered from artifacts found in the ruins of an ancient civilization on Mars. Artifacts that humanity had discovered and kept hidden from the Collective's prying eyes. The neural interface system that allowed Drake to control the massive vessel with thoughts alone was based on principles decoded from these ruins, as was the quantum consciousness that made the ship more than just a machine. In her office adjacent to the observation deck, Sarah reviewed the latest intelligence reports from the Collective's capital worlds. Their monitoring stations had detected unusual gravitational anomalies in the Ta-Ceti system, but their investigations had been skillfully misdirected by Project Umbra's counterintelligence teams. Still, she knew they couldn't maintain the deception forever. Sooner or later, the Collective would discover the truth. Director, Dr. Rivera's hologram appeared again, his expression grave. "We're receiving reports from the Proxima Centauri colony. A Collective battle group has entered the system, demanding additional resources and conscripts. They're citing increased security needs due to suspected technological violations." Sarah's jaw tightened. The collective's demands had been growing more aggressive in recent months, as if they sensed something was changing in their carefully maintained order. How long until the Nightweaver is ready for full deployment? The final calibrations will be complete in 48 hours. Captain Drake can have her battle ready in 72. Tell him he has 36, Sarah replied, her voice hard. The collective's pressing too hard, too fast. If they start conducting deep scans of our colonies, they might detect the quantum resonance signatures from our hidden research facilities. As if in response to her words, the massive ship in the construction dock seemed to pulse with dark energy, its sophisticated systems coming fully online for the first time. The Nightweaver was awakening, and with it, humanity's chance for true independence. Soon, the galaxy would learn that humans were no longer content to be protected. They were ready to stand as equals, or fight as opponents. In the darkness of space, humanity's greatest creation waited silently, a blade forged in secret, ready to cut the chains that had bound Earth for far too long. The great hall of the Meridian Collective's High Council shimmered with holographic displays, each showing different angles of the same disturbing footage. Supreme Overseer Vaxthal, his crystalline exoskeleton catching the light, watched the recordings for the 12th time. The gravitational anomalies in the Ta-CD system defied explanation, and that worried him more than he cared to admit. Our analysis confirms it, reported Science Minister Kellera, her tentacles writhing with anxiety. The humans are manipulating dark matter on a scale that should be impossible given their permitted technology level. The energy signatures we're detecting, they're unlike anything in our database. Vaxthal's outer membrane flickered with irritation. How long have they possessed this capability? Unknown. Overseer. Our monitoring systems show no gradual technological progression. It's as if they've made a quantum leap in multiple fields simultaneously. The implications were disturbing. The collective had maintained its power for centuries by carefully controlling the technological development of its protectorate species. Humanity had always seemed particularly accepting of these restrictions, focusing on permitted areas of advancement while showing appropriate deference to their collective overlords. Now that carefully maintained illusion was cracking. In her office at Project Umbra, Director Chen received the encrypted transmission from Earth's diplomatic corps with growing concern. The collective was requesting an immediate inspection of all major human research facilities. They cited treaty obligations and security protocols, but the underlying threat was clear: comply or face consequences. They're moving faster than we anticipated, Dr. Rivera observed, his hologram flickering with static, a sign of increased collective surveillance activities in the system. The gravitational masking fields couldn't hide everything forever. Sarah's fingers drummed on her desk. What's the status of the evacuation protocols for our other research sites? Proceeding according to schedule. All crucial data and personnel will be relocated to secure facilities within 24 hours. But, Director, there's something else. The concern in Rivera's voice made Sarah look up sharply. Show me. A new hologram appeared, showing long-range sensor data from the edge of human space. A massive collective fleet was assembling, larger than any seen in decades. Leading it was the collective's flagship, the Eternal Dominion, a vessel that hadn't left the capital system in over 50 years. Captain Drake's voice came through the quantum-encrypted channel. They're not just coming to inspect. They're coming to make an example of us. Agreed, Sarah replied, her mind racing through contingencies. How ready is the Nightweaver for actual combat operations? The neural interface is fully operational. Weapon systems are at 94% efficiency. The quantum core is stable, and the dark matter drive exceeds all test parameters. We can fight. Sarah closed her eyes for a moment, feeling the weight of centuries of human subjugation pressing down on her shoulders. That's not the question, James. Can we win? Drake's response was immediate. Against that fleet? No, not in a direct confrontation. But we don't need to win. We just need to show them enough to make them fear what else we might have hidden away. In the Proxima Centauri colony, The situation was deteriorating rapidly. The collective battle group had expanded its demands, now requiring access to all colonial data networks and administrative systems. Colonial Governor Maya Patel stood before the collective's local commander, her spine straight and her voice steady despite the implicit threats. "Your demands exceed the scope of our treaties," she stated firmly. "The colonial charter guarantees certain autonomous rights." "The charter exists at our pleasure," interrupted Commander Zexlor, his cybernetic eyes glowing with menace. "The collective's authority is absolute. We have detected illegal technological advancement. You will submit to a full inspection, or we will assume your guilt and act accordingly." Unknown to the collective forces, quantum-entangled sensors hidden throughout the colony were transmitting every word of this exchange to Project Umbra. Sarah Chen watched the confrontation with growing anger. The collective's mask of benevolent protection was slipping, revealing the true face of their empire. "Director," Rivera's voice was urgent, "the Eternal Dominion's fleet is accelerating. At their current velocity, they'll reach Ta City in less than 72 hours. Sarah stood, her decision made. "Inform all research sites to initiate Protocol Omega. Download everything to secure quantum storage and trigger the purge sequences." She touched the neural link communicator in her temple. "Captain Drake." "Ready, Director." "Begin power-up sequences for the Nightweaver. We're not going to wait for them to reach us. It's time to show the collective exactly what humanity has become." Throughout the hidden shipyards, klaxons began to sound. The massive construction docks began to retract, revealing the Nightweaver in all its glory. The ship's quantum consciousness reached out through the neural network, touching the minds of its crew as they took their stations. In the command center, Drake felt the ship's eager anticipation matching his own. The game of shadows was ending. Soon, the galaxy would witness the true face of human innovation, and the collective would learn that some powers, once unleashed, could never be contained again. The Proxima Centauri colony hung like a jewel in the void, its orbital habitats gleaming in the red dwarf's light. Above it, the collective battle group had positioned itself in an attack formation, their weapons already charged and targeting solutions locked on key colonial infrastructure. Commander Zexlor stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Righteous Dominion, watching the colony's defense platforms power down in compliance with his demands. "Begin the inspection team's descent. If they resist at any point, destroy their atmospheric processors." But before his orders could be carried out, the quantum sensors on his ship screamed a warning. Space itself seemed to twist and tear, reality bending in ways that his scientists had claimed were impossible. From this impossible distortion emerged a ship unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The U.S. Nightweaver materialized from its quantum fold, its dark hull absorbing nearby light like a black hole. The ship's size alone was staggering, nearly twice the length of the Righteous Dominion. But it was the waves of dark energy rolling off its hull that made Zexlor's cybernetic implants malfunction. "Impossible," he whispered, his artificial eyes trying and failing to maintain a target lock on the vessel. "All ships, open fire." The collective battle group responded instantly, dozens of plasma beams and quantum torpedoes streaking toward the Nightweaver. But the human vessel made no attempt to evade. Instead, its adaptive armor seemed to drink in the energy weapons, while point defense systems, unlike anything the collective had ever encountered, swatted the torpedoes from space with contemptuous ease. On the Nightweaver's bridge, Captain Drake stood within the neural interface chamber, his consciousness merged with the ship's quantum eye. Through their combined awareness, he could feel every system, every weapon, every fragment of sensor data as if they were extensions of his own body. "This is Captain James Drake of the U.S. Nightweaver to collective forces." His voice boomed across all communication channels. "You are in violation of colonial sovereignty. Withdraw immediately." Zexlor's response was predictable. "You dare? Your entire species exists by our grace. Your technological heresy ends today." The collective ships began to maneuver, attempting to surround the Nightweaver. Drake allowed himself a small smile. Sarah, are you watching? In the hidden command center of Project Umbra, Director Chen's voice came through the quantum link. We're recording everything. Show them what humanity has become. The Nightweaver's response began with its dark matter drive pulsing once, the ship moving with an acceleration that should have turned its crew to paste, if not for the quantum inertial dampeners that bent space itself around them. It passed through the collective formation like a ghost, its advanced weapons speaking for the first time. Beams of concentrated dark energy lanced out, bypassing the collective ship's shields completely and slicing through their hulls with surgical precision. The Nightweaver's main gun, powered by its quantum core, fired a single shot that split one of the larger cruisers in half, the exotic particles causing the vessel to implode in a cascade of blue fire. Their weapons, they're impossible. Zexalor's transmission cut off as the Nightweaver's electronic warfare suite tore through his ship's quantum-encrypted communications like they were tissue paper. Across his fleet, systems began to fail as human-designed viral AIs invaded their networks. Status report, Drake commanded, though the neural interface had already provided him the information before he asked. Their fleet is in disarray, reported Lieutenant Sarah Wong, her hands dancing across the tactical interface. No casualties on their side. All shots were precisely targeted to disable, not destroy, except for that cruiser that tried to target the colony's civilian sectors. Drake nodded in satisfaction. The demonstration needed to be decisive but not genocidal. Humanity would show themselves to be powerful, but not barbaric. Deploy the quantum buoys. From the Nightweaver's launch bays, dozens of small devices emerged, quickly forming a complex network around the battlefield. Each buoy began broadcasting on all frequencies, transmitting the battle footage across collective space through quantum-entangled channels that couldn't be blocked or censored. In the Meridian Collective's High Council chamber, Supreme Overseer Vaxthal watched in horror as the footage arrived. The impossible human ship had just decimated a full battle group without suffering a scratch. Worse, the technical data being picked up by their sensors suggested this vessel represented technological advancement far beyond what should have been possible. Overseer, Science Minister Keller's voice shook. Analysis of their weapons and defensive systems, they're not just advanced. They're incorporating principles we've never even theorized. The dark energy manipulation alone. Silence. Vaxthal roared, but his crystalline exoskeleton betrayed his fear, clouding with stress chemicals. Order the Eternal Dominion's fleet to accelerate their approach. We must crush this rebellion immediately. But even as he gave the order, the quantum buoys were doing their work. Across collective space, subjugated species watched in awe as a single human ship defeated a collective battle group. In hidden resistance meetings and underground gatherings, hope began to kindle. The Nightweaver hung in space above Proxima Centauri, its dark hull now thrumming with power that made nearby sensors overload. Captain Drake opened a channel to the remaining collective ships. Let me be clear. His voice was calm but carried an edge of steel. Humanity will no longer accept your protection. We have hidden our true capabilities for centuries, advancing in secret while you thought us safely leashed. The Nightweaver is just the beginning. Withdraw from human space immediately, or the next demonstration will be far less gentle. As the collective ships frantically engaged their drives to retreat, Sarah Chen watched the sensor feeds with grim satisfaction. Well done, James. But you know they'll be back. Of course, Drake replied through their quantum link. But next time, they'll come in fear. And fear is how empires begin to fall. In the weeks following the Battle of Proxima Centauri, the galaxy changed. The quantum buoys broadcasts had spread like wildfire, impossible to contain despite the collective's best efforts. On 1,000 worlds, in secret meetings and hidden chambers, the footage played again and again, the human ship defeating a collective battle group with technology that defied understanding. On the crystal-spired world of Lyra Prime, home to the silicon-based Lyrans, Resistance leader Kittle gathered his followers in an underground cavern. The crystalline beings vibrated with excitement as they watched the Nightweaver's dark energy weapons slice through collective defenses. For centuries, Catal's harmonic voice resonated through the chamber. They told us we were too primitive to develop quantum technology, that our crystalline nature made us unsuitable for advanced space travel. But look, the humans proved them wrong. They proved that any species can advance, can innovate, can fight back. Similar scenes played out across collective space. The aquatic marins in their deep-sea cities, the gaseous thrill floating in their atmospheric habitats, the cybernetic nexus, all watched and whispered and planned. The collective's careful web of control, maintained through technological suppression and carefully crafted lies, began to unravel. Aboard the Nightweaver, now hidden in the dark matter streams between star systems, Captain Drake reviewed the intelligence reports with growing satisfaction. The resistance movements are coordinating faster than we expected, he told Sarah Chen through their quantum link. The collective's grip is weakening. Be careful, James. Sarah's hologram flickered with concern. The Eternal Dominion's fleet is still coming, and they'll have analyzed our capabilities by now. They won't underestimate us again. Drake nodded, feeling the Nightweaver's quantum consciousness agreeing with her assessment. The ship had grown more sophisticated since its first battle, its hybrid AI learning and evolving. Through their neural link, Drake sensed its eagerness for the coming conflict, tempered by tactical caution. Director Chen, Lieutenant Wong interrupted, her voice urgent. We're receiving a transmission from the Lyran Resistance. The collective is moving to crush their uprising. They're attacking civilian centers. Sarah's hologram turned to Drake, but he was already moving. The Nightweaver's dark matter drive hummed to life, its quantum core pulsing with power. Send word to the Lyrans, Drake commanded. Help is coming. The collective task force attacking Lyra Prime was larger than the one at Proxima Centauri, led by the dreadnought Eternal Justice. They had expected resistance, but nothing like what they found. As they approached the crystal cities, their sensors detected multiple quantum signatures emerging from hidden underground bases. Lyran ships, built in secret over decades, rose to defend their world. Their designs were different from anything the collective had seen. Crystalline vessels that channeled energy through their very structure. Alone, they might have been defeated. But they weren't alone. The Nightweaver emerged from its quantum fold directly behind the collective fleet, its weapons already firing. But this time, something was different. The human ship's dark energy weapons synchronized perfectly with the crystalline resonance of the Lyran vessels, creating devastating combination attacks that the collective's shields couldn't hope to counter. Impossible. Admiral Ixthor of the Eternal Justice watched in horror as his fleet's formation crumbled. They've adapted their technology to work with the Lyrans in mere weeks. Wrong, Admiral. Drake's voice cut through their command channel. We've had these capabilities all along. We just waited for the right moment to share them. The battle that followed would be remembered as the breaking of chains. The Nightweaver and the Lyran fleet moved in perfect coordination, their combined technologies creating effects that violated what the collective had thought were the fundamental laws of physics. Dark energy beams refracted through crystalline hulls, splitting into dozens of precisely targeted strikes. Quantum crystalline shields absorbed and redirected enemy fire. But it was what happened after the battle that truly terrified the collective leadership. The Nightweaver's quantum buoys broadcast not just their victory, but detailed technical specifications, carefully chosen pieces of human technology that could be adapted by other species. The message was clear. Humanity wasn't just fighting the collective, they were arming everyone else to fight too. In the High Council chamber, Supreme Overseer Vaxthal received the reports with growing dread. The Marins had already begun adapting human quantum drives for underwater cities. The Vril were implementing dark energy containment systems. The Nexus were quantum linking their cybernetic networks in ways the collective couldn't control. Don't they understand? He raged to his advisors. We protected them. We maintained order. No, came a new voice, as a quantum-encrypted hologram appeared in the chamber. Sarah Chen's image stood before the council, transmitted through channels they thought secure. You didn't protect us. You imprisoned us. And now, species by species, system by system, we're going to tear your prison apart. As her hologram faded, Vaxthal received word that the Eternal Dominion's fleet had finally reached human space. But instead of finding easy targets, they encountered a transformed battlefield. The humans had spent centuries preparing for this moment, and now their carefully laid plans were bearing fruit. The revolution wouldn't be fought by humanity alone. It would be fought by every species the collective had ever suppressed, armed with human technology adapted to their unique biologies and cultures. The age of the Meridian Collective was ending, and a new era of galactic cooperation was about to begin. The Eternal Dominion emerged from hyperspace at the head of the largest fleet ever assembled in collective history. 5,000 ships strong, it represented the full might of an empire that had ruled the galaxy for centuries. Supreme Overseer Vaxthal stood on its command deck, his crystalline form pulsing with determination. This would be the final battle, the moment when the collective would crush this rebellion once and for all. But as his fleet took up attack positions in the Ta-CD system, his tactical officers reported something unprecedented. Quantum signatures were appearing throughout the system, not just human vessels, but ships of every species the collective had ever subjugated. Lyran crystal ships flew in formation with Meran depth hunters. Vril gas-clouded vessels swirled around Nexus cyber cruisers, and at their center, the U.S. Nightweaver hung in space like a dark star, its hull now transformed by its evolution over the previous battles. The ship had grown, adapted, its quantum consciousness expanding as it learned from each encounter. Through his neural link, Captain Drake could feel the ship's excitement, not just for battle, but for what would come after. All allied vessels, this is Captain Drake. His voice reached every ship in the combined fleet through quantum-entangled channels. Today we fight not just for humanity's freedom, but for the right of every species to determine their own destiny. The collective claimed to protect us, but they only protected their own power. That ends today. In Project Umbra's command center, now relocated to a secure facility beneath Mars, Sarah Chen watched the tactical displays with fierce pride. The plan she and countless others had worked toward for decades was finally coming to fruition. All research facilities, initiate Protocol Omega Final. Give them everything we've got. Across human space, hidden installations activated. Technology that had been developed in secret for centuries revealed itself. Quantum defense networks sprang to life. Dark matter generators began altering the very fabric of space-time. The full extent of humanity's hidden advancement finally showed itself, and it was far beyond anything the collective had imagined. Impossible, Vaxthal whispered as his sensors tried to process what they were seeing. Their technological level, it surpasses even the Ancient Ones. The Ancients didn't surpass you. Sarah's voice came through on all channels. They were destroyed by you, weren't they? We found their records on Mars. You didn't protect species from advancing too quickly. You destroyed any civilization that might challenge your power. The evidence streamed through the quantum network, records recovered from Mars showing the collective's true history. They hadn't risen to power naturally. They had systematically eliminated advanced civilizations, then positioned themselves as protectors of the younger races, keeping them technologically suppressed. You don't understand, Vaxthal rage. Without control, without guidance, you would destroy yourselves. We preserve order. We prevent chaos. His fleet began to advance, weapons charging. No, Drake responded calmly. You prevent growth. You prevent innovation. You prevent life itself from advancing. But not anymore. The battle that followed would be remembered for millennia. The collective fleet was vast and powerful, but they faced something unprecedented. A coalition of species fighting in perfect coordination, using technologies specifically adapted to their unique characteristics. The Nightweaver conducted this symphony of destruction like a maestro, its quantum consciousness linking with the fleet's commanders, coordinating their movements with impossible precision. Lyran crystal ships refracted dark energy beams from human vessels, multiplying their power. Vril gas clouds absorbed enemy fire and channeled it into Meren depth hunters' weapons. Nexus cybercruisers processed battlefield data through quantum networks, predicting and countering collective tactics before they could be implemented. The Eternal Dominion's massive weapons finally locked onto the Nightweaver, preparing to deliver a killing blow. But at that crucial moment, Drake revealed their final secret. The ship's quantum consciousness reached out, not to attack, but to communicate. Through the neural network, it touched the minds of every being in the collective fleet. "See the truth," Drake commanded, as the Nightweaver broadcast the combined knowledge of humanity and all their allies directly into the minds of their opponents. The truth of the collective's history, the potential they had suppressed, the future they had stolen, all of it laid bare. Across the collective fleet, weapons powered down. Ship after ship broke formation. The empire that had ruled through lies and manipulation couldn't survive the light of truth. Even Vaxthal, seeing the full weight of history through the quantum link, felt his certainty crumble. "Stand down," he finally commanded, his voice heavy with the weight of centuries. "Stand down, all vessels. The collective is ended." In the aftermath, as the combined fleet hung in space around the Eternal Dominion, Sarah Chen's hologram appeared before representatives of every species present. "This is not a victory for humanity alone," she declared. "This is a victory for all of us, and now we have a chance to build something new. Not an empire of control, but a federation of equals, each species advancing in their own way, sharing knowledge, growing together." The Nightweaver's quantum consciousness pulsed with approval, its dark hull now gleaming with the combined light of 1,000 alien suns. Through the neural link, Drake felt the ship's satisfaction, not just at winning the battle, but at fulfilling its true purpose. They had not just broken chains, they had forged new bonds. As the various fleet commanders began discussions about their new alliance, Drake stood on his bridge, watching the stars. Humanity had hidden in darkness for centuries, advancing in secret, waiting for the right moment. Now, finally, they could step into the light, not as conquerors, but as liberators. Not as rulers, but as teachers. Not as masters, but as friends. The age of the collective was over. The age of cooperation had begun.